Hello everyone, welcome back to the Tech Sharmit podcast. Today I'm joined by another special guest, Sachin Agarwal, who is joining us from Bharat itself. If I talk about Sachin, then he is one of the well-known DevOps expert, author of Mastering DevOps with Continuous Security, and an architect with over a decade of experience working with organizations like IBM, Deloitte, and Comcast. In today's episode, we will talk about the moments in his career that shaped him into a DevOps expert he is today, and how his understanding of DevOps evolved beyond just a tool over the last 10 years. But before we get started, I would like to thank Sachin for joining us today in this episode. And now I request you to please initiate the discussion by telling us a bit about yourself.
Yeah. First of all, I would like to thank you for inviting me in this podcast, and I think it's glad to be here. So thanks and thanks, Tech, Sharmit, and team, I would say. Now, to talk about myself, as you said, like I'm Sachin Agarwal, and I do have, so I'm a TEDx speaker. I have given recently a TEDx talk on the hidden power of AI, and I'm an author. I've authored three books on DevOps with respect to the beginner level, a guide to start DevOps at any age, with a mastering DevOps with continuous security and enterprise DevOps. Now, apart from that, I work as a professionally, I work as in a DevOps and cloud space. I would say, that I work between the intersection of, the DevOps, cloud, and real world problems, real world people, and all this because I like to solve those complex tech problems which can be easily broken down, not only for the engineers, but you can also break it down for everyone, who are even a non-tech people, for them also. So definitely on a day-to-day basis, I do a lot of systems troubleshooting, building, making them scalable, reliable, cost-effective, and architecting them to the best of our requirements or the client needs. Apart from that, uh, on a personal level, I come from Lucknow and I live in Pune. And I think like being from a Lucknow, the city which is known as a city of Nawabs, I think like a lot of things we carry from there on a with respect to the respect, grounded level and things. So definitely we do miss that city a lot of time in a lot of things. So yeah, and I do have like my YouTube channel with the name as Skill Up with Sachin. I apart from that, I do explore, I like to explore the new places. I like to mentor, teach, and provide any kind of a guidance as and when needed. So yeah, we'll explore it more further.
Yeah. And Sachin, like your journey sounds very fascinating because not only as a professional, but other than that, you are also contributing in different role as an author and also through your YouTube channel because the way you are creating the abundant content on technology, it's really very worthy for all the audience. So I would request everyone to go and check out his content as well. And now moving ahead, like I just want to talk a bit about your initial days because you have worked with tech giants like IBM, Deloitte, and now you are working with Comcast. So throughout your journey, what you think, like what moment in your career most shaped you into the DevOps expert, which you are like how you are contributing to in today's world. So what was that particular moment for you?
Yeah, I think like, I would say that there was not one thing which has shaped me or one single role. It is definitely, the multiple roles or multiple moments which came across entire journey. So, I started my career, as a support network engineer and with the Virtusa. So with a college, being a college grad, I got placed into that and I got an opportunity and I was working for a client like we used to have a British Telecom, it's a big UK based giant client. And being a first, years, the first steps into the IT world, it like everything looks to be very fascinated and things, but it was not actually the game. You work on a lot of different things, you learn, but since then, the journey has keep on evolving. It looks like that there were the different paths and it was been evolving. And I would say that, after that I moved to IBM and that was my very first learning where I understood the fundamentals. I understood that how basically the systems work, what exactly is discipline known as, and
Hmm.
how these big tech giants, they work, what actually they think, and why stability and process are more important for them rather
Correct.
than other stuff. So those was my thing, which I learned with IBM, which led me to Deloitte. And there, the shift was very big. The reason shift was big because with Deloitte, with name, you have a big clients. Again, you have with the big clients, you have a more additional responsibilities in terms of the different. You could say the deadlines. You can say different deliverables. You have a multiple environments or a complex environments, but there you started learning into a different way, and you started understanding the process, you started understanding about taking the ownerships, how to learn from the failures or how to find out the success in the failures.
Hmm.
So that gave me the learning, which I got into the Deloitte. And from there now into the Comcast, it's again, that is defining the experience now. Because now at Comcast, where like you can't, like, again, the kind of the role and the things we can't do mistakes, because here the systems, it can break multiple times in a day, automations can fail, you have to trust your observability, and those all things you have. So now I have started, like, or I build, the scalable system. So from the place, where like I was thinking to build fast or to deploy fast, now I have been now my thinking has been evolved into that how to build scalable, you can say reliable,
Hmm.
and the cost effective solutions for the organizations. So that is how, my journey from that network engineer to a scalable DevOps engineer, I would say, have been evolved into.
That's a great explanation, and I'm sure like those who are into this particular genre, or those who are working as a DevOps expert, like they know that yes, now it will clear that, especially for those who recently start their journey, it will clear that yes, there is no particular moment in journey, but it is actually a throughout process where we learn, we explore the things when we are working with different tech giants like IBM, Deloitte, and that made a journey, that made you a successful and as an expert. So that's a great explanation, Sachin.
It's a compounding effect, actually.
Correct, it's a compounding effect, and by the time gradually you learn the things and you explore the area. Okay, and Sachin, if we particularly talk about the DevOps, because what I believe, like many people still see this DevOps just as a tool. So from your expertise, from your like expert point of view, how did your understanding of DevOps evolve over the last 10 plus years? Like how you have witnessed the changes throughout the journey?
So I think, you are absolutely right here that a lot of people still think DevOps is a tool,
Hmm.
it is a technology. But actually, this is not. It is all about mindset. In fact, I would say that I was also thinking the same in my early days of a career, that yes, DevOps is a tools. You learn these tools and you put them into the right place, and eventually, like, everything will fall. You will able to create like some application which will able to scale or do the things. But with the experience, with the growing companies, organizations, and the clients, and the different projects I've handled, that proved me wrong, that it is not about that.
Right.
To be honest, DevOps is not any tool, it is not any technology. Definitely, there are set of tools like Docker, Kubernetes, Jenkins, and a lot. They comprise together to make it as a single. They make it as this process, to or DevOps as a process to follow that. But DevOps is all about the collaboration. It is all about the mindset, taking ownerships, and automating the things. So that is, in a short, is all about like DevOps actually.
Okay. And also, like you have architect the CI/CD pipelines using the tools like Jenkins and GitHub Actions, right? So, what you believe, like, what are the common pitfalls, or I would say the mistake teams made when they are building the pipelines? So, what you think? Like, what are the common obstacles and how we can avoid them?
One of the very common problem is that people write that pipeline once and they don't revisit it anytime.
Okay.
Means you should always revisit the pipeline, or like the Jenkins pipeline or the GitHub action, whatever you have written, like you revisit your application code, right? You always give the versioning to your application code. So there should be a versioning to the pipeline code. It should always follow the practice of pipeline as a code pattern. That
Okay.
is one important thing. The second point is that people I've seen, people have started putting in the pipeline entire scripts. Like they're creating it as a mini application nowadays. It's not
Yeah.
an application, right? It is set of steps which has to do certain action.
Correct.
So make it less complex, make it simple. I would say that is the more, the general practice which we should follow rather than adding or creating, like writing a lot of code in that.
Okay. And suppose Sachin, there is a person who recently joined IT industry and now working with the DevOps and other things, and they're not completely aware of the CI/CD things and the pipelines things. So from your point of view, like how they can start learning this? Like, is there any particular roadmap that you would like to suggest or recommend them to start with the CI/CD things?
Yeah, definitely there is a roadmap. And as I said, that the very first thing even I learned was the fundamentals. So
Fundamentals.
having a knowledge of fundamentals is important. That is, you should know the basics of GitHub, the versioning, code versioning, scripting, either Python or Shell, any such scripting in terms of automation, and knowledge of Linux, Unix, troubleshooting those Linux, Unix and things is very important because everything works on those systems. Once those fundamentals are clear, then you start with the CI/CD. Understand the terminology first before even writing the code or before even start executing your pipelines,
Agree.
and then move into the Docker, orchestration, Terraform, cloud, and any such thing.
Okay. All right. Moving ahead, Sachin, we will talk bit about the AWS and Azure because you have worked deeply with these two things. So, from your perspective, what you think, like how should engineers specifically decide between the multi-cloud versus the single cloud strategies? Because, like oftenly, like people's is not capable to draw the proper parallels between these two things. So from your angle, like how do you see the differences between multi-cloud and the single cloud strategies?
Yeah, that's a good question, actually, because these days, I would say it's a kind of trend to be on a multi-cloud systems.
Yeah.
But multi-cloud, again, according to me, this should be a business decision more than a technical decision.
Yep.
That if there is actually the requirement, like there is some business requirement, if there are some laws, rules, and regulations which are moving you towards that multi-cloud environment for a certain project or things, if there is any geographical constraints, right, then only you should move over to the multi-cloud. Otherwise, having learning with a single cloud, by design or implementing that is very easy and important because a lot of complexity increases. For an example, with the multi-cloud, both have a different IAM principal standards, both have a different networking standards, both have a different other architectural design pattern changes.
Mhm.
So we have to consider all of those things while designing the applications too.
Okay. All right. Now we will talk another topic that is close to your heart, that is LGTM stack, right? Because you have implemented the full LGTM stack, Prometheus, Grafana, and Datadog. So, what do you think? Like, what does good observability actually mean in practice? When we are talking about in terms of practice, what is good observabilities?
Okay, so I would say, that firstly, most of the time, the problem is with the observability is that people feel that having a dashboard with everything green is a good observability.
Mm, yeah,
But that is not the observability, right?
correct, right.
Because you are not here for everything green. Observability means if something is breaking, you should aware about.
Agree.
So it is something three, I would break it into some three questions. The first is what did break? Like what broke, right?
Hmm.
Why? And who can fix it, right? What should be your next point of contact, next step of actions to fix that? Because if you know that, okay, what break, who can fix it, or how can we fix it, So that can first you have to resolve that issue, right?
Right.
And any type of a stack, like either you go with LGTM or you go with the proprietary like Datadog, New Relic, Splunk, any kind of a tool, like all of those follow the basic same fundamentals, I would say. So that is important. And again, if we deep dive into this, right, I've seen it's not important to put, all the matrices, all the logs, all the traces. Put what is important, because anyone, either your executive leadership or your uh, L1 team or support team, anyone is looking for what has been broken there. And as I said, not for a green boxes.
Correct. Okay. So, Sachin, we talked about your current profession role. We talked about your journey with multiple organization. But other than that, you are also contributing as an author, right? So, one of your book that is Mastering DevOps with Continuous Security. It particularly focuses on the DevSec operations, right? Security part. So, why do you think there is a need, or why is security is still treated as an afterthought? So my question is, like, when you initially decided that yes, this is the right topic to start writing the books, and how was your overall journey as an author?
So yeah, so definitely, so for book point, right, definitely, one of my elder brother, he mentored me, he guided me, and he pushed me that okay, you should write a book. As a lot of people approach me that how can we enter into DevOps, what other things we can do. So again, I would be thankful to him for the same. Like his name is Mr. Vishwajit Vishnu, and he definitely pushed me for that same, and I'm happy that I can able to make that up. Now, coming back to the point, right, that how that security or is important and why it is not considered, because still when we get some issues raised in the audit, right? Any type of audit happens, and then we aware that oh yeah, security was something we missed, right? Or when we get into some other kind of a trouble, any data leakage or any other thing, then. But actually, if you are hearing, there's a lot of concept of shift left, right? Or
Hmm.
security should come by design itself. That means that every pipeline stage in the CI/CD there should be the security, and that is why the DevOps has been changing to the DevSecOps, where you started scanning your code, develop and vulnerability scan, and sonar cube quality checks and other things. We have started
Correct.
engaging the tools like Snake, Truffle, Hog, and a lot of different things are helping us in this industry. So I think yes, security is very, very important, because and it is not a shared responsibility of a single team. It is shared responsibility of everyone, starting from a support engineer to a developer to a DevOps engineer and to the leader level.
Yeah, and I think this is something that again reconnect that dot, that you need to revisit your pipelines timely manner, right? Then
Exactly.
only like you will figure out all the necessities, and in both terms, development wise as well as security terms. So that's a great thing. Okay. And if like we talked about from as an expert or author view, now if someone if we someone wants to give advice to organization, right? So what would you because for organization, starting DevOps, DevSecOps is completely different thing, right? So from your perspective, what should they focus on in the initial 90 or 60 days when they just roll out their first DevSecOps?
I would say, that don't try to make it very complex. Try to put it, at a fundamental level, at a basic level.
Mm-hmm.
And make your systems by design strong. We as a DevOps, if I have to design anything, I would try to make sure that my system as a when it comes to DevOps, right, it means automation, means there should not be any human intervention, right? In case you have to provision a server, right, you just click on your workflow, click on your Jenkins job, and it will create a server, deploy everything, and do all the stuff. So you should focus on those areas. You should focus on following the least security principle, the IAM security principles, on having a good observability. Follow all the standard, but at a fundamental level, at a smaller level, so that you can be more, you can become, it will be easier for you to scale the things later, and you
Hmm.
can identify the mistakes at a right way. And one of the very important part is to revisit or to have a feedback loops constantly. Along with that, awareness and learning is very important, that you make your team aware about the things and give them the right resources and right learning materials so that they can also upscale themselves with the stuffs.
Okay. All right. So now, Sachin, moving ahead, we will talk few things that is related to your personal life, because we talked about the technical thing, and I'm sure like there are so many technical things that we can discuss here with expert like yourself. But now it's, I think we are short on time also, so I just want to take couple of questions related to your life itself. So, first thing, like you just mentioned about the origin, right? Like you we just talked about working with team and right. So, from your angle, like as a proud citizen of Bharat, what you think, like what aspect of Indian culture, maybe values or society, do you feel the world has not fully discovered yet or appreciated yet? So, from your point of view, because you have collaborated with multiple teams and members, right? So what one thing you would like to convey to all of them through your this podcast?
So, I come from a city like in India named as Lucknow, which
Yeah.
is like known as a city of Tehzeeb, like where a lot of respect, human values, being grounded and things come in. But again, it is my personal thought, that there are some times, with so much of evolution, with so much of the things nowadays, a lot of times we have stopped or obeying, or I would say that following
Hmm.
that human values. So that
Correct.
human values culture is missing somewhere, and as we are following a different culture, so with that we don't follow that. And also the adaptability, or that learning attitude and things, they are like going in a different directions. So I would say, that being grounded and having that learning attitude and doing the things is much more important, and which basically shows our culture, our values, being a citizen of India. So that should be good there.
Yes, and I think this is something that everyone, especially those who are joining this podcast from the global countries or different countries, they should like at least they should go and check out the things about the Lucknow, especially because Lucknow is popular for two things. One is their hospitality, and also for the food. So this is something
Right.
that I think they can learn, and they can also explore whenever they got an opportunity to visit India and to explore the things here. So that's a great thing you just shared. Okay. Now, Sachin, before we wind up this discussion, I just want to take one question regarding that particular moment of your life that you think that was your turning point, right? But at that time, it didn't seem that significant in the initial days, but later on, it proved to be truly transformational for your journey. So, anything that is that you feel that that highly impacted your journey in the upcoming years. So what it would be?
So I think, there would be, like again, to list, there would be a lot of different moments and things. But I
Correct.
think for me, the major transformation journey was like, so the time when I like left my home, back in like 2010 and 11,
Mm-hmm.
and where I started my like a different journey of a B Tech and the things, when I started seeing with the different people. So I would say that was one of my major transformation, where I had that thing in my mind that I have to do something now to, it was not the fight with anyone else, it was a fight with myself, because I have been into the different conditions. I come from a very different, conditions, and not a very good financial background and those things. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, that was definitely one of the moment where I would say, that basically transformed my things
Yeah.
to go and to do something now. So, and there's definitely since then, like, a lot of other moments have been came, but if I have to prioritize, I would give this as a priority one, I would say.
And I think this is the best thing that anyone can do, because if you know the things like the challenges, your own challenges, then only you can find out the proper solution for it. Because sometimes, like I feel like students are learning the technologies, they are trying to get the jobs, but they are not aware of their own situations, right? They are not aware of the things that they are expecting from the IT industry or from the society. So if you figure out these things in the early days, then I think things would be much more impactful for you, and also it really impacted your journey in the later go as well. So that's a great
Yeah,
thing.
I would like to add here, that you have to be very clear, with the goals which you are following, or which you want to uh, accomplish, right? Or what you want to carry forward. That is
Right.
very important here too, because if you are not clear with your goals and your priorities, it is like you will always be, in that race.
Correct. And one thing I always say oftenly, that if you don't know what you are going to do, at least find out if what you are not going to do. So that will also help you because you now
Yeah,
listed down those things that these are the area which is not for me. Then maybe
correct.
by the time you will get the better thing for yourself. That's a thing. Okay, so we talked about your technical things, we talked about your contribution as an author. Now I think it's time to talk bit about your support system because I believe that everyone needs a mentor or a guide in a life. So looking back on your own journey, who are the key people or influencers that shaped the way you think, work, or lead today?
Yeah, like I think it's definitely, at every moment there were a different mentors, and definitely, the first few ones to be listed on a personal note, who have always been in constant support. So definitely it's like, my parents,
Parents.
and more than them, like, my grandparents and my like uncle and aunts who are over there. And now, like, again, definitely, as I'm married, so my wife, like, she's in constant support for everything, where like I'm doing all the stuff like over a weekend also, and I'm allowed to do that. So that
Yes.
is good. But yes, in terms of the other, again, definitely you have been a lot of mentors with respect to the teachers, professors, and things. But there were few, friend which I found in my journey, right, which became the friend, for your life, and like they have not always been a friend, but they were something more than that. So like I mentioned, that one of my friend, Vishal Singh, like he is amazing, mentor. He has been mentor for me always. And apart from that, Saurabh Agarwal, he's also been a great mentor for me. And more than that, again, I mentioned already about Mr. Vishwajit Vishnu, who is
Yes.
elder brother for me, and who has been always, guiding us and shaping. So again, to list down, there would be a lot of different names, but yes, couple of few which I wanted to list is basically, yeah.
Okay. All right. And just one thing I forgot to ask you in between the question, like you mentioned about the books. So, Sachin, like where can the audience can find out those books? Is it available on Amazon or any soft copies are available in the market?
Yeah,
Uh,
so I do
mhm.
have, like, listed them on Amazon, and I do have my website also named as skillupwithsachin.com.
Okay.
So definitely we are doing a bit of upgrades there, but yes, you can even place an order from that too. So
Okay.
I can provide you that link too for the audience so they can buy that.
All right. Okay. So yeah, thank you so much, Sachin, for joining us in this episode and for sharing so much information regarding the DevOps and for sharing your personal journey as well. I'm sure it will resonate with so many other listeners. So thank you once again for your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Tech Sharmit and team. I think, yeah, it was great talking to you guys. Thank you.